Hey guys, and welcome to the Truth Factor. We're pre-recording this so that one, it goes off at 5 o'clock, and two, because I'm not feeling all that hot. So I'm gonna go and lay down. So please forgive me, but there's just a few articles that I wanted to cover that was floating around in today's headlines. So let's get right into these articles, guys. Okay, guys. We're gonna start with, what I guess most people would be thinking is the big news of the day. And this here is from Hal Turner radio show. Georgia indictment of Trump charge submission. The Hal Turner radio show has obtained legal documents from the state of Georgia, which have not been officially released to the public, showing the following felony criminal charges will be presented to a grand jury in Fulton County, Georgia, with the intent to indict and arrest former President Donald Trump. But now, guys, I also have from Zero Hedge this article about the RICO indictment. So, but it disappeared. So, RICO what? Right? Trump RICO indictment briefly appears on the Georgia court docket. Former President Donald Trump is apparently going to be indicted under the RICO, Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organization Act statute, according to a document which was briefly posted on the Fulton County, Georgia court's website. The document dated August 14th, entitled Trump Cites the Case as Open. It was quickly taken down. As Bloomberg noted earlier, the Fulton County case will likely echo allegations in the indictment of Trump in Washington brought by special counsel Jack Smith. Trump is accused in the case of trying to overturn the 2020 election nationwide, and his actions in Georgia feature prominently in the alleged conspiracy. Anyway. District Attorney Fani Willis, a Democrat who took office days before January 6 on 2021 attack on the U.S. Capitol, had extensive details on Trump's actions in Georgia when she opened her probe in February of 2021. Those details included Trump's efforts to pressure Raffensperger, asking him and others to find just enough votes to overcome his loss, even though a recount had already been conducted. Willis has a history of prosecuting cases from teachers to rap music stars under Georgia's version of the Federal Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organization Act, or RICO, a statute often associated with organized crime. She may use this law against Trump and allies as well. One sheriff deputy standing guard said he'd never seen such an extensive security operation in 30 years on the job. The officer said one priority will be protecting protesters who may clash with each other if Trump appears in court. So Trump is accused of trying to goad the Georgia officials into finding votes for him. When context, Trump was implying they were hiding votes. Trump has denied wrongdoing. Anyway. It's going to be a circus show there in Georgia, guys. So we'll just keep our eyes and ears on that situation. So I don't know if possibly that's what Hal has, or if there's something more to it than just this RICO indictment. But who knows? We'll know in time, right? Then we also have from Hal Turner, devices found on railroads that tracks to derail trains. Police have revealed that devices like the one pictured above, designed to derail trains, have been found and are being found on railroad tracks all over the United States. In this brief video, one such device is found on the tracks that run adjacent to major oil and gasoline storage tanks. Police warned that they could lead to train derailments and the death of passengers. The devices have been found all over the country, from the West Coast to the East, and now it seems self-evident that America is literally under attack from within. More details as they become available. Well, at 7:53 a.m., additional information has come in regarding the device shown above. What is pictured is a standard railroad siding derail. It is designed to derail a car with dangerous materials from going on the main line and becoming a runaway bomb. While it is good to hear that this is a known safety device, this explanation does not address why police are reporting finding these devices on mainline tracks all over the USA. This would seem to indicate people within the railroad industry with ready access to such devices has begun misusing them. More if he gets it. Rather interesting. Then we have, we'll get to that one later. A serious escalation from Poland will attack Belorussia. Russians say 3 divisions received offensive order rearrangement of Air Force and airborne units. The situation between Poland and Russia is constantly escalating, which shows that we are on the prelude to a second major war crisis in the region. For the first time today, Russian media, echoing the positions of the Kremlin, are talking about the readiness of the strategic offensive operation of the Poles. The Russians are mapping the movements of the Polish army and its layouts, emphasizing that 3 of their divisions have taken an offensive layout aimed at Belarus. They specifically mentioned 10,000 soldiers are being moved to the Polish-Belarusian border. Polish Defense Minister Mariusz Balsik announced. Let's see what Poland's intentions are and for what purpose with such a large military force is being formed near Belarus. Everything indicates that Poland is preparing for a strategic offensive operation in the Belarusian direction. From 2021, under the cover of the migration crisis, access to the border zone has been limited to the border of Belarus. Then he began to constantly move the army to the developed field communication centers and command posts. At the same time, Polish government announced the creation of 300,000 strong army and began a covert mobilization, thanks to which is completed redeployments and transferred newly formed units to warring states. Later, in the guise of large exercise, Defender of Europe, Anaconda, and Bear, they were provided with additional weapons, military equipment, and material. Newly formed units underwent combat coordination, which was completed with their certification, checking their readiness to perform tasks for their intended purpose. At the same time, in recent months, the 12th Mechanized and the 11th Tank Divisions were transferred from the German border to the Bialystok and Biala Podlaska region, and in late July, advanced command posts and field communication centers were deployed near these cities. In turn, the 18th Division was urgently deployed from Rezva to the Belsk area. Thus, Poland, on the border with Belarus on the Gorodano-Brest line, simultaneously deployed 3 divisions fully manned, according to the Polish wartime doctrine. In addition, another indicator of Poland's preparation for an attack on Belarus is the redeployment of military aviation and airborne units on the borders of Belarus. Anyway. At the same time, the 6th Born and the 25th Assault Brigades occupy the holds of the airfields. The ultimate goal of the Polish troops is to reach the line of Lydia Vonchpinsk. To sum it up, we want to note that the Poles have almost everything ready for an attack against Belarus. The pretext may be both a border incident and a political decision of the ruling PIS party aimed at maintaining power in Poland, the Russians conclude. Another 4,000 soldiers are involved in the operation, codenamed Renga. The Polish YPAM explained that the purpose of the operation was to train the Polish army in Poldask Voidship, not far from border, and to form reserves in case of situation worsens. In turn, the commander of the Polsk task force, Colonel Mike, I don't know, we're going to call him Colonel Mike, okay, said that the group will operate in an area 400 kilometers wide and 150 kilometers deep from the border, according to the Russians. In the Polsk Voidship, along the border lie 50 to 250,000 Belarusians who have been oppressed for decades and hate Polish nationalists. Anyway, so definitely looks like, they're gearing up for something. Again, keeping our eyes as closely on the situation as possible. And then we have here, guys, Russian Navy fires a warning shot to force cargo ship bound for Ukraine to stop for inspection. Moscow said Sunday that a warning shot were fired from the Russian warship at a cargo vessel heading towards the Ukrainian port of Izmail. The Russian Defense Ministry said that Vasyl Bykov patrol ship spotted a cargo vessel sailing under the flag of Palu en route to the Ukrainian port of Izmail. The captain of the Sukra cargo ship did not respond to demands to stop for the inspection of the transportation of the prohibited goods. To force the ship to stop, warning shots from automatic small arms were fired from Russian warships, the defense ministry said in a statement. A helicopter carrying Russian military personnel was then scrambled to inspect the vessel, the statement said, below a photo of the actual helicopter over the actual vessel as it was to be boarded. Wow. Crazy. After the inspection was completed, the Sukhod Okran was allowed to continue its journey. Ismail is now the main export route for Ukrainian agricultural products, following its withdrawal from the Black Sea grain agreement in July. Moscow has pounded seaports in the southern Ukrainian region of Odessa that were key for the grain exports, granted safe passage under the deal. Today's forced inspection took place in the southwest part of the Black Sea. The vessel stopped by the Russian Navy was the Sukhod Okran, pictured below from the file photos. Anyway, then we also have, guys, an update on the stuff in Hawaii. Crews are searching for Maui wildfire victims and could find another 10 to 20 people a day, Hawaii governor says. As the death toll in Hawaii from the deadliest U.S. wildfire is more than a century grew to 96 on Sunday, Hawaii Governor Josh Green said that there is a grim expectation of further casualties. There are more fatalities that will come, Green told CBS News. The fire was so hot that what we find is tragic, finding that you could imagine, as though a fire has come through and it's hard to recognize anybody. All residents of Lahaina, a historic town that bore the brunt of the blaze, has either escaped or perished in the fire, according to Green. But it could take up to 10 days for the full death toll to be determined, as crews could find 10 to 20 people per day, probably until they finish. We are prepared for many tragic stories, Green said. I bet they are. Lahaina has proven difficult for rescuers to access. Green has surveyed the town's ruins twice and said that magnitude of the destruction has left the area unrecognizable. There's nothing to see except full devastation. The buildings are almost non-existent, he said. Hawaii has a statewide outdoor warning siren system, which can be used to notify residents ahead of natural disasters, a human-caused event, including tsunamis, hurricanes, dam breaches, flooding, wildfires, volcanic eruptions, terrorist threats, and hazardous material incidences, according to the Hawaii Emergency Management Agencies. But the U.S. Representative Jill Taktu, whose district includes Maui, said Sunday that on Face the Nation that the warning sirens likely did not go off, suggesting that the Lahaina fire was too fast-moving. The issue of the emergency alerts and why sirens weren't activated is something Green said will be investigated by the state attorney general. The investigation, Green said, aims not to find fault in anyone, but to say why this worked and this didn't work. Despite the failure of the alarms, Green said that given this fire intensity and weather conditions on Maui when the wildfires ignited, crews had a limited option to slow the blaze. If you put a fire truck in the way of the flames that were coming through the 1,000 mile an hour, the fire truck would have been incinerated, in addition to the people, he said. So it's unlikely that much could have been done, except, of course, moving people out before that they were killed. That's what we'll talk about. Anyway, such a devastating situation. My heart and my thoughts and prayers go out to the people in Hawaii right now. We will continue to pray for them. Hopefully, I'll be able to take me a nap and wake up and feel a little bit better, and we'll have Bible, guys. But if not, we'll probably have a prayer in the morning time. Anyway, God bless you all. I do hope you all have a wonderful day. And thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. We'll hopefully see you guys later. God bless.